Hello, it's the Baron. I've played a lot of PvZ in my time, like a lot of Plants vs. Zombies. I've played it since beta. If you don't know, this is part 2 to me revisiting Plants vs. Zombies 2. And I've set up a little bit of a challenge for myself, only using the Homeworld plants. Now, I want to do a more interesting journey than all the other YouTubers. I decided to go live for this because I thought it would be interesting. Let me know if this is cool for you or if you want to go back to the old editing. Either way, I like it. I like feeling more present, and I feel like I'm back and forth with you guys more. But basically, I'm beating the game only using Homeworld plants. If you don't know what that means, I'm basically using native plants that are unlocked in their specific worlds. Like Bloomerang is in ancient Egypt, so I use it in ancient Egypt, but not melon pult because melon pult's in the Wild West. And whenever I move on to a new world, I entirely abandon the last world setup. This is a challenge that logically should get progressively easier as I get into it, but I was wrong. In fact, this video specifically has been a nightmare to make and edit because, well, one, I lost the recording twice for some reason. My Premiere Pro crashed. Premiere Pro is my editing software. And it's not looking pretty for the challenge. I'm going to finish it still, but it's not looking pretty, guys. I ran into what is probably most famous in challenge runs, the frostbite caves. Guys, pepper pult. Pepper pult is the worst plant I have ever laid my eyes upon, and I'm not even shitting you. This plant has no survivability whatsoever. It's expensive. It barely heats the plants effectively. Its ult is complete RNG. And even when you try your absolute damnedest, he still costs like 15 seconds of your hard-earned time just to plant the thing. You might as well mail it to me at that point. Anyways, I'm just yapping off. Let's get into the video. The first few days were already a problem because it was only tutorial plants. That's all I was doing, just tutorial plants. Now, normally this wouldn't be a problem since I usually use tutorial plants in the challenge until I get my first offensive plant. But you gotta wait till like day 5 in order to unlock your first actual offensive plant. And you know, I was confident. In fact, the tutorial plants are pretty easy to work with. Cabbage pult's cracked. However, when I unlocked pepper pult, shit fell real fast. In fact, it was the level before pepper pult. I got a conveyor belt level. Now, if you don't know, half of frostbite caves is special levels. A lot of them are conveyors. And conveyor belts aren't exactly out of the rules. I'm still beating the game with only frostbite plants. Technically, I could use whatever plant I want on a conveyor level, but in this one specifically, it wouldn't allow me to. I couldn't beat it with only frostbite plants. The main 2 conveyor belt levels I'm talking about is one with only pepper pults and one with only hurricanes. Sure, I tried to use pea shooters, but either way, the wave creep in frostbite is ridiculous, so pea shooters basically did nothing to end the levels. On that note, the pepper pult level was A. I did like 5 different attempts on the pepper pult level, just barely trying to beat it, scrape by with whatever dignity I had left. Day 6 and 7 became the same damn issue with pepper pult. He just was too bad. Every single time I'd get a pepper pult on the board, 2 other zombies would show up on different lanes. That would make my life so much worse than it had to be. Day 8 was also another conveyor level with only pepper pults, and it was annoying as shit. Day 9, and I decided to rent a rotobega because I never really rented a plant in the game. I think it's a stupid mechanic, but you know what? It's the only reason why I beat the challenge at this point. I also rent Stunyon on day 11 just to get by. Day 10, and I was already over an hour into the challenge, but I also get Shard Guard. The chat calls him Chad Guard, so we're going to call it that too, and the name fits. Chad Guard absolutely carries our ass because Pepper Pult counters nothing. Day 13 was Protect the Flowers, but honestly, Chad Guard kind of made that a breeze. There was a Gargantuar, but I was able to just fling it back and stall for basically forever. Day 14 was a Broken Sun economy. I could do whatever I wanted, breeze through that level. Same with Day 15, it was Protect the Pepper Pult, but other than that, just playing carefully also worked. Chad Guard kind of made my life a lot easier. Day 16, and it's another conveyor. Now, this is where I have to give a little bit of a disclaimer for the video. The Frostbite Caves stream was like 4 hours of me sitting down on a like 97-degree day, roasting my ass off, trying to beat Frostbite Caves of Pepper Pult. 2.5 of those hours were spent with me failing. Just about every single level in that world, I failed to some extent. It was brutal. There was nothing in my power that I could do to prevent some of the ways I've lost. So half the wins in this world were just a good RNG at the end of a level. Everything just came back to saving my lawnmowers as well, making sure that I could kill everything up front. Day 16 was also just halfway through this world. I couldn't beat Day 16, by the way, with only Frostbite plants. I tried really hard, maybe with good enough RNG, but we spent like 45 minutes on that one level. Day 17 was where I was convinced I should make a solo video for Frostbite Caves. But Day 17, I also just couldn't beat straight up. Instead, I rented Fire P. Technically, Fire P is within the challenge rules because you unlock him in Frostbite Caves, or rather, he was introduced as a gemium in Frostbite Caves, so he is part of the rules. He's in the world. Day 18 was our old friend, Boomerang. Fuck Boomerang. I thought Boomerang was better than Pepper Pult, but no, he's just his ass. We also got Citron, our boy Citron, and with a plant that powerful so early into a world, you know that I got absolutely fucked over. I was still struggling so hard. My inability to survive was depressing. Day 19, and somebody finally suggests to me that I could put up my FPS on this godforsaken video game. Do you know how it feels to go from like 30 FPS to 60 on Plants vs. Zombies 2? I thought that shit was a myth, but it wasn't. So thank you, chat, for suggesting that to me. Yes, I do stream these. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't. And check out a stream. By the way, we rolled Day 19 and unlocked Stunyon. Stunyon is just kind of there. He gets replaced by Stalia anyways in the next world. Day 20 was relatively smooth. We also unlock Endless, and you know what? That's pretty simple for me. If you want, comment to see a video on it. Day 21 is rolled by Fire P, and Day 22 introduces Weasels. Now, Weasels are not nearly as bad as chicken zombies. In fact, Chad Guard pretty much took care of it, so I'm not going to make such a big deal out of it like other people do. I'm just very thankful that we had Chad Guard, because Pepper Pult was not cutting it. Day 23 was pretty much a first try. Same with 24 and 25. Speaking of Day 25, we unlock Rotobega. Man. Having a character like Rotobega after spending 26 levels with that piece of dog shit Pepper Pult is amazing. An actually good gimmick on a good plant. Day 28 with a Planier defense, I kind of just spammed Rotobega, but I ended up failing, so I just decided to be slightly more strategic and we breezed through it. Day 29 it was another Fire P, and you know what? Fire P is like a government ploy by PVZ to just kill off Pepper Pult immediately. Fire P's entire reason to exist is to invalidate Pepper Pult's existence completely and utterly. And Day 30, I tried to beat without using any other plant, but it was Zomboss. And I never really noticed this as a kid, but being older, Zomboss don't play around. Fires projectile after projectile after projectile, and you don't really notice how fast he fires them until you're only placing like Fire Peas and Chad Guards and shit. By the time we get an actual frostbite plant for the challenge, he's killed off all the others on the board. So I just had to fight Zomboss regularly. And honestly, he's a lot of fun. As for my thoughts on the world, Frostbite Caves is one of my more memorable worlds as a kid. Specifically the final boss, I enjoyed Frostbite Caves. But only doing it with Pepperpult has to be the most miserable design ever. I get Pepperpult's more of a offensive support than he is just a full attack plant, but that's no excuse, man. He's 200 suns to play off a gimmick that Snapdragon can do 10 times better. This is one of the more interesting worlds I remember growing up with. It had 2 parts to it, and it genuinely took a jump in terms of how far back in time they were willing to go. It basically opened ambiguity to the rest of the worlds and how creative they could get. They kind of went out of the 18 to 1600s gimmick and way out into the future, like all the classics, the Wild West. But Frostbite Caves was truly just an unexpected, strange world, and I think that still holds up today. I'm sure if I revisit it in reflourished, then I'll have a lot of fun.